Hello, everybody. We are live. My name is Yuri, and we are waiting for Rajiv ji. He's gonna probably join in a few seconds, but I wanted to get started. And before we get started, again, I know Rajiv ji will have its own disclaimers, but I wanted to let you all know that I'll be in India, April 26, 27. So again, if you are planning to come to United States, make sure that you register for this mind-blowing event. It's going to be it's going to be free for anybody who wants to come. Bring your parents as well if they want to come and learn more about what's happening in United States. And while we are there, I have my ultimate job hunting course and community. You can be part of this community as well. We share in and out about what's happening in the industry, job market. We bring in recruiters, CTOs, and all of those people so we can help you with your job hunt as well. But I just wanted to quickly announce these before Rajiv ji joins. I know he's joining. Hopefully, he'll be here very, very, very soon. There we go. He is here. I just got done announcing, so you can. But I didn't say the disclaimer, so you can start
Okay,
there.
so he's his own man. I'm my own man. What I say doesn't belong to him. What he says doesn't belong to me. We are responsible for ourselves only. This is meant to be an information call. This is not the end of all legal possible information. We do our best. I do my best to provide information as best as I can. I could be wrong. Please double check the information. This is not attorney-client privilege for a telephone call. It's public, and it doesn't establish an attorney-client relationship. I'm not responsible for what you do. Okay. That said, real quickly, I want to talk about SEVIS. I don't know if we talked about this. I think this happened after we talked, which is, did we talk about the case where the court reinstated the student's SEVIS status temporarily?
No.
Okay.
No.
So yesterday, American Civil Liberty Union, which is really a very good litigating organization, filed a lawsuit in New Hampshire, Dartmouth College, where the court temporarily reversed the SEVIS termination decision. And that appears to be a temporary thing until the case is decided. But remember, even that I thought could be difficult because you have to prove that you're going to win the case. Okay.
So this organization said that, hey, this like reinstate for this particular student or all students of
Only one
Dartmouth?
student. I haven't read the whole complaint. I need to get a copy of the complaint. The problem is there are not enough hours in the day. Okay.
Yes.
I've got a bunch of students saying, why don't you litigate? I don't have time. I wish I could because I have cases that I've already taken. I can't leave people's work and say, you know what, forget about your EB1As and NIWs. I'll go and work on the litigation. That's not possible. So there are plenty of good litigators out there. They're doing the best they can. Groups are forming. Every day I hear new people jumping in. So the choices are still the same, but the litigation choice seems a little better. Now, students have asked me, listen, I can't afford a lawyer. But how about 10 of you together? Or 15 of you together?
Interesting. Okay. So how would that work? But wouldn't the lawyer would have to do the 10 times more work?
No, because they have to draft one complaint and basically allege the facts of each case. So I would say it's about 10 to 20% work per person, maybe 30 at the most. So if we took the entire complaint as 100, when I add a guy, maybe 30% more. Add another guy, maybe 30% more. So most lawyers will be reasonable and they'll give you a break in your fees for that. You can check on that. Form groups, especially if you are in a particular state, that is very helpful. From a particular university, that's even better. Okay. So get together and start doing that, and maybe that would work out. And I wish I could go back into litigation. I just don't have time. I can either do transactional work or litigation. Very difficult to do both things.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. Go ahead. Let's get started.
Yeah. And can you quickly repeat the 4 options for people who might have not watched the last?
So if you didn't see what we talked about yesterday.
In this context, if your SEVIS did get terminated, then you have 4 choices really, and Rajiv ji will.
So the choice number 1 is to leave now. The reason, I don't want to be issued a notice to appear NTA so that they start deportation proceedings against me. I don't want that hassle. And I may have another option like an H1B. So leave now, wait a little bit and then leave. Try reinstatement. I don't think that's going to work. And file a lawsuit. So lawsuit appears to be a better option. But the risk in all of these remain, except when you leave, that the government can still start deportation proceedings against you. There really are no good options, but wait and watch seems to be okay as long as you don't get an NTA issued against you.
Yeah. And someone who has H1B picked, they were on OPT, got their service is terminated, then talk to your employer, make sure you have a
couple of things. First of all, you need to see if there's a conviction, if there's a criminal conviction. If there's no conviction, you are fine. Go out, get an H1B and come back. Okay. But if there's a conviction, you need to make sure, speak with a lawyer who does deportation defense in the state in which the crime occurred to make sure there's no deeper problem. When I say deeper problem, there are some issues that could stop you from coming back under any visa. Those are called admissibility issues. Okay. So if you have an admissibility problem, you can't be admitted because of a disqualification, then leaving is going to be of no use because you can't come back anyway for whatever time. Okay. Figure out if you don't have a deeper issue. Leave, apply for a visa, but make arrangements with the employer that you may have to be gone for a while. Because if the government starts deeper vetting, excuse me, these allergies, man.
Yeah,
you're going to enjoy that when you come to the East Coast. You're going to have a lot of fun with the allergies.
No, I don't. I'm not looking forward to it.
It's okay. Pop a pill.
Also, it escalated. Caitlin is like, I can't wait longer, so let's just go in May.
Yeah, I see she's the jet fuel in your diesel engine.
Yeah, and I think you might be right. It might be the kitchen issue. Who knows?
I like her style. That's my kind of girl. She says, you're not fixing my kitchen, I'm changing houses. So going back to when you figure out with the employer, look, I could get stuck there. Is it okay if I work from there? Because that's perfectly legal. You can be working from India or home country as long as you need to. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. Because if they throw a 221G at you, they can delay you, of course, but they can't deny you. Legally, there's no reason for denial. Can't is a strong word. Consulates can get away with a lot, but legally they cannot. Okay, so going to India to get an H1B, if you don't have a deeper problem, is a good option.
Okay, let's get started. So Isha is back. I think she was there yesterday about the 180 days, and she had follow-up. When you say I-485 should be pending for 180 days or more, does it mean business days? Does it include weekends?
These are good questions. I enjoy both the need to worry, because we have to worry about these things, as well as the depth of our own intelligence that we can think about all these things. The answer is no. This is calendar days. This is not business days. This is calendar days, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter if it's a weekend.
Includes weekends.
Yeah. So it's not business days. But that's a good question, Isha. She had something else she was saying in the beginning. Is she?
That was just providing the context. Yeah. All right. I got selected in H1B lottery. My employer is filing change of status. I'm completing my master's this summer. Will there be any issues with this, or should I consider consular processing instead?
So there is advantage in doing change of status because you're getting your H1B right here. As far as completing your degree is concerned, if it spills over into October, remember on H1B, you can also go to school. So while you're holding an H1B, you can also finishing up your school. Advantage of H1B is you don't have to have full-time status. You can do 3 credits, 6 credits, 9 credits, 10 credits, whatever you want.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Also, Pawan, good job. 0th attempt. That's nice to get a H1B in
Yeah,
before they
because
graduate.
he doesn't commit sins like some people I know.
Now I'm scared of what you will say because I'm afraid they're gonna be like, open your social media. Currently on STEM extension, got H1B picked via staffing company. Will there be any challenge in the visa interview working with their in-house genuine project while looking for contracts?
Yeah, but see, I have a problem with these in-house project stories because I don't know. I mean, somebody actually sent me a LinkedIn comment after we had talked here. A couple of things
Mhm.
I want to point out before I answer this question. One was that my company gets projects from the federal governments and state government. They're all in-house. I said, that's not what an in-house project is. That's not what we mean, at least what I mean. So let me clarify. In-house project is where a staffing company says, I have an in-house project, but actually they don't.
Mm.
They just make some stuff up, and maybe they even have it. I don't know. But I am very careful with those cases. I will send something in writing saying, if you don't have an in-house project, you could be committing fraud. This is a criminal penalty, not just a immigration violation. Okay.
Mm.
So when you don't have a project and you're just trying to create an avenue for somebody to get an H1B, that's illegal, even criminal.
Mm.
So people who actually have genuine in-house projects, like you said you do, is it okay to come using those? Sure. Are you going to have a problem with the visa stamping? You could, because staffing companies um, have created or they have been reviewed
Mm.
more closely than companies with their own projects. So you could have a problem. Uh, I I would be prepared to defend my in-house project. Remember, we
Mm.
talked about um, why did you create this project? Did you do a marketing study? How are you going to sell the project? How many man hours are involved? How many have been done already? How many people are involved? What is the end goal? Show us copies of your screenshots. Da, da, da. So they can ask for all sorts of things. When something is
Mm.
actually being done, it should be visible.
Mm. Okay. I'm currently on H1B visa with a close to 3 years utilized. If I go to India and stay for 1-2 years, I don't need to go through the lottery. But will the 6 years clock be reset, or when I come back, still I have 3 years to complete the I-140 process?
So, Prathamesh ji, what happens in cases like yours is this. First of all, when you're outside the US, that time is not counted towards your H1B. So your H1B is being conserved. Okay, number one. Number two, you don't have to go through the lottery again if you will only ask for the time remaining. That's called the remainder option. You can Google it, H1B remainder option. What does that say? It says, I'm allowed H1 for 6 years. I have used 2 years. Then I left for 1 year. Now my H1B clock is reset for 6 years if I want. But then I have to go through the lottery again if I want 6 years. But if I agree to take only the remainder, which is 4 years, then I don't have to go through the lottery again.
Mm. Nice. Okay.
There was
Can
back
you
one
stay?
more. I just want to make sure I covered everything. Could you go back just once? Will the 6 years clock be reset? Yeah. So you can't have both the things together.
Mm.
This is the one. Still, I have 3 years to complete the I-140 process. So remember, you can get extensions beyond 6 years, not just because you completed your I-140, but also because you started your green card 1 year back. So there are two kinds of extensions of H1B. One is based upon stage. The other one is based upon time. The stage base says, we don't care when you started your green card. If your I-140 is approved, you're entitled to 3-year extension beyond 6 years. Okay. The time-based one says, we don't care what stage you are at. If you started your green card, like PERM application, 1 year back, whether you are at PERM denied appeal pending, I-140 denied appeal pending, we don't care. If you have 1 year of antiquity, your green card was started 1 year back, you are entitled to 1 year extension. Then again 1 year, then again 1 year. So these are two different provisions, not just the I-140. So starting green card as early as you can is a good idea.
Okay. On H1B, since October 2024, change of status from F1, got SEVIP email in March, April about OPT and standard or termination notice. Should I be worried? Had a 2022 speeding ticket later dismissed.
So this is a third kind of case where H1B has, it's not just that you've been selected in the lottery, you already are on H1B. And 18 years later, the government says your service is terminated. What do I care? Okay. The only thing I would worry about is, Sammy, I want you to do that deep dive, see that you don't have any deep problems or major problems because of that conviction. There was a speeding ticket that was later dismissed. I won't even do any deep diving. That's fine. See, I want to clarify something for all the students here or everybody here. Your rights while you're inside the US are greater than your rights outside the US. Before Trump, they were a lot greater. Now, they are a little bit greater. Okay, that's the first principle. When you're at the airport coming in, CBP can ask you much more intrusive, unfair questions than somebody can in the United States.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you think about the way government looks at crimes, it's not the conviction itself that is important. Sometimes it's even the admission of the elements of the crime that's the problem. So I'll give you an example, an extreme example. Let's say that two friends got into a fight. One friend punched the other. Okay. Police came, case was started. Then the friends made up and they said, we don't want to do all this. Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office, or if the local state office didn't have any witnesses and they didn't have a case, the case got dismissed. But the fact is that one friend punched the other. A crime was committed. Okay. Case has been dismissed, nothing left. The way I see it, as far as my understanding of the law is, if the USCIS is able to prove that a crime did occur, whether or not there was a conviction, they can still go with it as a disqualification. Because the elements of the crime have been proven. So, taking that to this example of speeding, can they say, well, put you under oath and say, sir, how fast were you going? No, it's a perfectly legitimate answer to say, I don't remember. Do you remember how fast you were going, I don't know, a year ago? So how would I know? 2022 is 3 years back. Okay. So there are, and also there are some rules governing how they can ask those kind of questions. So my advice to our clients was, you have police report, you have the court dates, court hearings, maybe some transcripts, and then you have the disposition where the court says case dismissed or acquitted, okay, or prosecution withdrew, whatever the reason. So if CBP at the airport says, talk to us about the underlying events, I'm going to put you under oath, I'm going to ask you those questions. Raise your right hand, whatever you say will be the truth, nothing but the truth. I do. Sir, what happened? I'm sorry. My lawyer told me, if this situation occurs, I am to tell you, I would love to cooperate and tell you everything, but I'm under strict legal instructions to tell you everything I have to say is in the court files. I have nothing else to say. And that's how you deal with it. But can they kick you out and not let you come back? Sure. They could keep you out. They could put a kind of a disqualification for up to 5 years, but it won't be like a permanent bar or something much more egregious. It's trying to manage a bad situation in the best way possible. I have never, in more than 32 or 35 years of my immigration practice, I have never had a situation where the government actually did this, even under the old Trump administration rule. It's very unlikely.
Yeah.
Okay, but then we never had SEVIS revocations like this either. So who knows?
Okay. H4 extended till 2026, but I-94 not updated. H1B I-797 has updated I-94. Am I on H4 accumulating unlawful days?
Okay, so Nikita, here is the problem. I can't really tell what's going on. H4 extended till 26, but I-94 not updated. That's the part I don't understand. H1B I-797 has updated I-94. You are supposed to get an updated I-94 too. So when the H4 was extended till 2026, you should have received an I-94 as well.
So is there could be an error?
That could be unlawful presence, because if your I-94 expires, the day after it expires, you're accruing unlawful presence in most cases.
No,
So
but
this
this
needs to
could
be corrected.
Okay.
Okay. It could be very well, it could be an error from the USCIS. Please get together with your lawyers right away.
Yeah. The course link should be there in the description, but here you can take a quick screenshot if you want to. Here we go.
Hey, Yudi, does he have the same last name as you?
He does.
Are you guys cousins?
No, not cousins. Should I be worried about anything when filing for EB1 through marriage when I am on day one?
EB1 is employment based. So you can't be filing EB1 through marriage unless you are a derivative. So if your wife is filing EB1 and you are a derivative, is there any problem? No. But if you are filing through marriage to a US citizen, for example, is it a problem? No. My only caveat is you were actually attending classes and you were fulfilling the requirements.
I think we answered that.
Yes,
okay. On H1B, since I think did we answer this? Yeah, we did.
we just did.
Hello, sir. I'm going back to India in April, coming back on May 17 in Los Angeles. And I have convocation in LA and I'm on my OPT. I work in Colorado. Is it good idea to travel? I don't know if
there are so Shivanshi, people are traveling. Okay. It's not like people are not traveling.
Shivansh.
Shivansh is what I said, right? Did I say something else?
No, you said Shivanshi.
शिवांश जी बोला रहे.
अच्छा, ओके, सॉरी, आपका आवाज ब्रेक हो गया था इसलिए.
Yeah, ऐसा ही है. My like Amitabh Bachchan type voice. So going back to what we were talking about, travel is always going to be under Trump. It's going to be dicey because you are left at the mercy of the whim and fancy of a CBP officer. I have plenty of people who had no issues. Somebody was very worried, just sent me an email saying, I came back, no issue, no questions asked. What can you do if you have to travel? So optional travel should be avoided. Mandatory travel that you've got to go, of course, you've got to go. Just defend yourself as best as you can. Number one, make sure you have proof of status all the way through your journey. Transcripts, H1B approvals, pay stubs, W2s. So the way I do it, I say keep W2s, and for the period that is not covered by W2s, keep pay stubs. Okay. If you're on CPT, anybody who's on CPT, they should carry evidence that they've been attending classes. That's pretty much all you can do.
I'm on F1 STEM OPT and H1B picked, but not filed. Wife got F2 visa on Jan 16, 2025. Traveling to United States April 26, 2025. The gap was for her to serve her work notice period in India. Any concerns with her travel?
No, Jeffrey, I don't think so. I'm assuming you are in the US. She's coming to join you. and you are concerned whether she's going to F2. What are they going to ask an F2 person? I mean, doesn't have to maintain her own status. She's dependent upon you, and there's really no requirement that she carry paperwork. But I guess she can carry proof of your OPT, STEM OPT. You can give her a copy of your STEM OPT EAD card, and maybe W2s and pay stubs, just to show that you are maintaining status. Letter
Okay.
from the employer that you are working in your own field, copy of your I-983. Shouldn't be required any of this, but who knows? I mean, just over prepare is better.
Regarding previous question, I just received I-797C approved. That is valid till 2026.
So that means they didn't give you status or extension. Please get together with your lawyers right away. This could be an issue. So C is courtesy. So I can't tell whether your status was approved or not. So I understand there are A, B, and C, right? A is when you get change of status. B is when you got approval but no change of status. C is just a courtesy notice. This is my understanding. If I'm incorrect, please correct me, guys. Oh, by the way, talking of correction, somebody sent me a LinkedIn message saying, Rajiv, I'm a regular listener, and I just want to correct something, and maybe you can let the community know very nicely. Let the community know that, and there was a Financial Express article that said in 2024, the requirement that STEM OPT company should be e-verified has been removed. I said, what? And he shows me the article. He sent me the article. It said so. So I said, okay, every day you learn something new. I don't think so, but I'll double check. I went and double checked the regulation. Of course not. So regulation is still there. So don't believe everything you read in the newspapers either.
And on that topic, so yesterday we talked about, can CBP ask you about the bank transaction? And we said, like, that would be invasion of privacy. So one guy did commented on our session that he came 7th April, asked to show the bank transaction. He showed the pay stub, but they're like, no, you need to show the bank transaction where the company has actually paid you. He did. And they asked him questions, but he still made it through.
So
and that was through Abu Dhabi.
Not, if you go back and listen to the recording, they can ask for anything they want. But can they go into your account themselves?
Okay.
And the answer is no. That's an invasion of privacy.
They cannot, but they can ask you that, show me your bank transaction.
They can ask for any documents they want. So there's a difference between the two scenarios. But thank you for sharing that with us. I'll tell you why that is. Because it's a common pattern of misbehavior where the employer says, look, I don't have any work for you. I'll give you a paycheck, but you give me the cash back. I'm not sure how bank transactions will fail to show that, because if they gave you the check, it got deposited in your bank, and if you took out money and gave it back to them. But this is fraudulent behavior. Be very careful with this.
Yeah. Okay. I had a simple assault charge that was dismissed and found not guilty. My STEM OPT service was terminated. If I apply for reinstatement through day one CPT school, what are the chances of approval?
If USCIS does what I think they would do, almost zero. So remember, I told you there are two problems. That one, for reinstatement, it has to be circumstances beyond your control. And USCIS has made an express policy statement. I'll tell you exactly what language they have used. That criminal behavior is not considered to be circumstances beyond your control. Give me 1 second. I'll try to retrieve that if I can. Yudi, you can keep going while I'm looking.
Sumant has another one. SEVIS terminated, but my H1B was selected in the lottery. Can I stay in the US while the petition is pending 170 days and then go to India for stamping? Will the past this case of fact visa?
Can you and should you are two different questions, right? Can says, do I have the capacity? Sure. You also have the capacity to be deported. So that's up to you. If you have the stomach for risk and you feel that you're not really bothered, I think getting an NTA served is a big problem. or getting even an NTA issued is a big problem. So I would be careful about this. What is the point of staying here? If you have a job and it's being processed, I think you should consider leaving. But talk to your lawyers, because the situation is so unprecedented. And there are so many murky areas. It is difficult to say, well, I'm right and you're wrong. You know. So let me show you this.
Yeah.
Share screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the USCIS policy manual. Okay. And if you look at this is about reinstatement of student status. The student's application must show the students filed the application to no more than 5 months after being out of status, or exceptional circumstances, etc., happened. The student does not have a record of repeated violations, is not deportable on any ground other than the one. Okay. The student's application must also show, now this is the part you need to worry about, violation occurred from circumstances beyond your control. Violations due to students' actions such as criminal activity are not considered circumstances beyond the student's control. Right? Make sense?
Yeah.
So when you combine these elements together, any kind of criminality that's attributed to you, whether it has been conviction or not, it could be considered to be a problem for reinstatement. And reinstatement is always about discretion. The government is not obliged to reinstate you. See?
Yeah. Okay.
So I think reinstatement is very iffy in my opinion.
I'm on STEM OPD and started process for global entry. Is it good time to do it? Also, is this new bill which is worrying will affect CPT in future?
So global entry is a totally administrative procedure. That has nothing to do with the bills. Okay. So can you do it? Should you do it? Sure, why not? The bill, and I talked about it yesterday, I don't follow a bill until it starts moving, until it shows some sign of getting approved, some sign of getting support in the second chamber. If it started in the Senate, does it have support in the House? If it started in the House, does it have support in the Senate? So before that, I don't even look at these bills.
Okay. I'm a master student on F1 visa and will be interning this summer for 3 months on CPT. The company is not e-verified. Is that a problem?
Yeah, for CPT, there's no requirement of e-verification.
Yep. Sammy, as a follow-up, I haven't gone for H1B stamping yet. Could this be an issue considering the SEVIP emails? The 2022 speeding ticket was 15 miles per hour.
Okay,
Was
so
resolved before.
It wasn't really adjudicated as a complete. You weren't acquitted. So what you should do, Sammy, is what I'm telling people to make sure you don't have a deeper problem. Talk with a lawyer who does deportation defense, also called removal defense. Okay. I usually go to the American Immigration Lawyers Association referral service. Okay. They have an online resource for referral. So should I show that to people?
Yes.
So let me show you from the beginning what I just did. Oh, I have some confidential information here I can't show. So let me just open the lawyer's research. So let's see. Hold on, let me remove the confidential information.
Okay.
I have a couple of files here that I can't show people. Okay, so
someone says, I got parking ticket, 1 speeding, 1 traffic light violation.
Yeah, it's very distressing to be in this situation. Hold on, where am I? I lost myself. Okay, I have to go back to that. Okay, got it. Present. So this is, you can just Google AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association. It's ailalawyer.com. ailalawyer.com. What type of lawyer do you want? I want deportation guy, deportation/removal. Which city do you want? Let's say I want Harrisburg.
Okay.
How do you select the city? Or the city can be anything that's convenient for you. Harrisburg is incorrect. Okay. And state is where the crime occurred. So city can be any, whatever is convenient for you. So state should be Pennsylvania. Okay. You don't need the zip code. You just hit search and you get a list of lawyers. So in Harrisburg, there are no lawyers who do this. I'm not surprised. Change that to Philadelphia and you'll find plenty of lawyers. Because there's probably no immigration court in Harrisburg. You have all these lawyers. Okay. I want a lawyer who has at least 10 years of experience. At least 10. The more, the better. But at least 10 years of experience. Talk to them and say, this is my problem. They'll have to look at the law as it existed when you were convicted. They'll have to compare certain things. And they can tell you, look, it's no problem.
Okay. Got lots and lots of questions. So, okay. Does shoplifting dismissed cases are considered as an inadmissibility? Cases for H1B and L1 future cases.
जैसे गुब्बारे में से फूंक निकलती है ना वैसी Yeah. So the problem, Krishna ji, is that there are so many kinds of dismissals. Some dismissals, even though they are dismissals, are considered to be a conviction under immigration law. So that's why I would rather have you spend a couple $100 and go talk to a lawyer. Okay. And I already showed you how you find a lawyer.
Yeah. On OPT outside United States, left 4 months ago, working freelance, and I can continue even without OPT. Is it worth risk returning to the US?
No, you are working outside the US. In your own home country, you can work away as much as you want. No problem.
On OPT, doing 2 jobs, and one of them sponsored H1B. H1B got picked. So by when should I quit the second job?
So typically, because you can do multiple jobs on OPT, and if you have applied for change of status, it will be triggered based upon what you asked for on October 1st or later. So whenever the H1B start date is, you have to stop the second job.
Okay. Is it okay to travel to
Isn't
India?
this your family again?
Is सारे जगारी मेरे family से
What is going on here? How many Jigaris are there in this world?
Just like how many Shah and Patels are.
Yaji, what is he saying?
I'm planning to come back before April 20. I am in final semester and my I-20 expires on May 4th. I applied to OPT. The EAD card is still not issued. I need suggestion.
Yeah, that she needs that chart.
Okay.
So Vidyaji, remember, in addition to that chart, when you should travel, when you can travel, when is it dangerous? Just remember to carry proof of having maintained status. We talked about that several times. Okay.
Yeah. I'm working for a startup on STEM OPT as a CTO. If they send me to India for developing the business there, can I come back on L1A in a few years, or is L1A only for big companies?
So L1A is much easier for bigger companies, but L1A can be done for smaller companies also. So the basic rule is, are you managing enough people so that the company needs an executive or managerial level employee? So if you say I'm managing one person and that's the frontline staff, probably doesn't mean that you're an executive or managerial level employee. So it is definitely easier for larger companies, but not impossible for smaller companies.
Okay. Right now on STEM OPT and planning to start a startup on the side, did not get picked in H1B, so need to move to Canada. Will be back on L1. How to manage my startup meanwhile? I already have B1, B2. Manage on L1 and while in Canada?
Well, you have a couple of different issues. First of all, if you are from India, could you have managed this company from India? Sure, because you have work authorization in India. Do you have work authorization in Canada that covers your work in USA? Do they have any rules like that? Because in USA, we are still unsure. If Canada is clear, look, we don't care what you do outside Canada, then obviously you can manage the company. There is no US law that says you can't,
Yeah.
at least not under immigration law.
Yeah. You missed my super chat yesterday. Sorry about that.
What is
On
super
OP,
chat?
जहाँ पे people can send some money to ask their question.
Oh, they become super chatters.
Yeah.
Nice.
On OPT, about to apply for STEM, H1B wasn't picked. Should I push my employer to start PERM? How much time PERM takes now for?
Rest of the world. Oh, that's good. Rest of the world is good. Look, PERM times are not any faster for rest of the world. It is the ultimate green card which is faster. Okay. So last time I checked, EB2 for the rest of the world was backed up, what, 2.5 years, or maybe closer to 3. Let me double check.
So PERM will still take a year and
Yeah.
a half or
PERM
2
will
years.
take whatever time it takes. So
And then
typically start to finish PERM is a couple of years, little bit more maybe. So if you look at the employment base for the rest of the world, I don't need to share this, right? People already know this.
नहीं करो ना.
So
People
you want
like me.
to share it? अभी मेरे को फिर से figure out करना पड़ेगा. So present 10. Share screen. Visa bulletin for April 25. ठीक है? So there's a little bit of difference between final action and dates for filing. Don't get into all that. Let's just look at the broad picture for now. So employment based, first is current for the whole world. Second is backed up about 2 years. So by the time your PERM is cleared, you should be ready to file your last step of the green card process, which is pretty good, right? Third is backed up a little bit more, which is 6 months more, right?
Hey, so third, what is third? Like, what does third mean?
Bachelor's, yeah. So typically, the definition of third is professionals or skilled workers, which means bachelor's degree or no degree, but the job requires 2 years of experience.
Okay. Cool. Can working on 1099 on F1 OPD cause any problem on H1B or green card? Does it need to be hourly basis or can it be project basis?
OPT, I don't see any problem. STEM OPT is more tricky because somebody has to supervise you. If you are on first year OPT and doing at least 20 hours each week for each job that you are doing, you are fine. Can it be project based? I don't think you can sustain 20 hours each week if you have one project that comes, another project that goes. So you could have unemployment in between. So it's a difficult question to answer. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I had a graphics designer, couldn't find a job, but had plenty of clients. So she started doing it 1099. She had timesheets. She haven't even traveled to India, came back and showed her timesheets at the border. No problem.
DV case dismissed, SEVIS terminated, and H1B picked with my employer. What can I do? Go back to India, go for reinstatement. Office won't allow me to work through India because no branch in India.
So reinstatement, I thought I showed that I didn't look like an option to me unless I'm missing something. It didn't look like an option to me. Lawsuit looks more viable, but the problem I'm concerned about is what is the government going to do about deportations? If they start deportations, then we've got an issue. So by staying here, you're taking the chance of getting stuck with a deportation. That's the only problem. Okay. So if you go to India and if you get stuck with the 221G, which is happening to a lot of people, that doesn't mean the case is getting denied. It's just getting delayed. If you don't have that capacity for delay, I don't think you have much of a choice. You still have to go and take your chances,
Okay.
or file a lawsuit and take your chances.
Working
You just
cause.
did
I
that.
think we did this. Okay.
So
STEM
super
OP.
chat shows up differently for you.
Yeah,
Oh,
because it's a super chat.
super chat.
STEM OPT is ending. No H1B. If I leave and work from India for 1 year and apply L1B with the same company, does previously F1 cause any issues getting L1B?
No, it does not, Mr. Reddy.
Sorry to ask again, but is there any issue with my H1B status if SEVIS got terminated? Should I contact an attorney about visa stamping if my current status might be affected?
Well, they haven't sent you a notice about your H1B, right? So you are not on a student status. Your service should not have been active anyway.
Hmm.
So I don't see any issue here.
Okay. Is buying a gold card worth it, or EB5 still makes sense?
What gold card? Where is it? It's all in Trump's head only. Nothing has been
Hmm.
implemented.
Regardless, you are our best friend.
We like you very much.
H1B holder seeking guidance on switch to client or post employer
Sponsored EB2
on.
NAW approval.
Okay. If 182 rule starts at the receipt or approval date.
Approval date.
बाप रे, इतना सारा एकदम. LWD, what is that? I don't know.
My LWD. Leave without something? No. Mathurambika ji, what are you saying? My
I think
LWD.
it's not their fault because they have to fit the question with YouTube only allows so
LBW
many.
तो मेरे को पता है क्रिकेट से LWD नहीं पता है. My LWD, let's try April 30th. My parents have a B2 appointment on June 10th. DS 160 details. Purpose tourism, spend time with daughter. US POC means point of contact me. My lawyer says they can't go for interview while I am on grace period or change of status since I am primary relative. I don't know of any such requirement. You can check the Foreign Affairs manual. I'm not sure there's any such requirement.
Last working day.
Last working day. Thank you. How did you know that? Did she tell you?
No. Someone else said. Rishan said it.
Thank you, guys.
I was
Because
looking
you
for
have
the
all
chat.
these abbreviations are like Sanskrit to me. Sanskrit I can actually even understand. So yeah, Mathurambika ji, I don't know if that is an issue. Why should that be an issue?
Because her last working day is April 30th.
So what? She has
And
but
no, her parents are going for B2 appointment.
I got that. I wish I had the time to take a quick look at the standard operating procedures. I personally don't think it's a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Because have you given an affidavit of support I-134? If you have not, because they have two purposes. They are coming for tourism and spend time with their daughter. Government could ask for more information, but I do not think it's an automatic problem just because your stay is expiring. But it could be helpful if you sent them. Yeah, thank you, Mansaji. It could be helpful if you sent them something, if asked, something that shows what your plans are. So, for example, if you're applying for another course or something, I don't think it's an automatic no, but it could be helpful to have some indication of what you plan to do after your course is over or your last working day is gone. You still have a 60-day grace period, right? So I don't know. I think it should be okay personally. I don't think that's a ground for denial.
Okay. F1 in 2015, got speed ticket paid, accident case, but police didn't show up in court, so dismissed the case. H1B for past 6 years, got school bus ticket paid,
must
fine.
have crossed the school bus.
Okay, and claimed my points. Now F1 again. Will this affect me with my new SEVIS?
Only you can call the White House. Nobody else can tell you. Even the White House can't tell you. I don't know what they're doing. So, can they create a problem for your service? Obviously, they can. Will they be able to sustain it? That a court can tell. Hopefully, you don't get into that kind of mess. Simple answer: we don't know.
Yeah. I'm on OPT, have 2 speeding tickets, one in Texas for 10% over and other one in Utah for 45 in 35. Okay. Texas one was DD, dismissed.
Drunk driving.
Oh, and Utah plea of bans and still on. No fingerprints. Should I be worried about SEVIS?
So, Manthanji, obviously, you have issues that could be a problem. Okay. But you haven't received a SEVIS violation right now. So, obviously, you're okay for now. When it happens, then we'll see.
Okay. Applied B2 extension on February 25th. If denied on April 25th, when will I be considered that I've overstayed? Can I stay for 7 days after denial?
Yeah.
What cons of overstaying can come?
So, if you have a timely filed application, and we are still talking about within the 6 months period that you asked for. So let's say you applied in June, from June to December. Okay. And let's say in November, you got a denial. You did file on a timely manner. Your unlawful presence begins from November, from denial. But what if you go past the date? You asked from June to December, and you got a denial in January. That becomes a very interesting situation. I don't know whether it can be claimed that it starts in January or in December, which is the time you asked for. Yeah. So who knows? But for cases that are within those 6 months and timely filed, your unlawful presence begins from the date after the denial, day after. A week extra, sure. What problems? It's the time, that's normal time. That's time you need to just arrange for travel out. I don't think that should be a major disqualification.
Okay. Currently on last year of OPT, H1B picked last week. Visa and SEVIS terminated, shoplifting, case dismissed, option please.
Well, obviously you have not received a SEVIS yet, so SEVIS termination yet. So
no, he's saying SEVIS terminated.
Where does he say? Oh,
visa.
Yeah, okay. Then the problem is, then you should do what I told the other people. Get your case examined, make sure it's not a permanent disqualification of any kind. It could be. Just make sure it's not. Because I think what happens is you have to have a crime of moral turpitude, and shoplifting probably is. And on top of that, you have to have punishment, I think, that exceeds 6 months of incarceration. And that's very, very rare. So chances are you'll be okay, but have it double checked. Then if you want to leave, you leave and get a visa and come back. We just had that discussion, very long discussion.
Okay. Got selected H1B in regular cap, graduation delayed in summer, July to receive transcript for my master's. The filing deadline is June 30th. Will this be a problem?
Yeah, if you are filed under master's degree quota and you can't bring evidence that your coursework requirements were finished, even if it's a letter from your school, your coursework work requirements were finished, when you file your H1B paperwork, you will lose your lottery because you applied under master's degree and you were not able to fulfill the master's degree.
But if it's not applied in master's degree, then she's fine?
That is fine.
Or he's, yeah. 2 years ago, I got sketchy parking ticket and ignored it. Last year, I was let off with a warning for a speeding. I have had a clean record for 5 years. Should I worry about the tickets for visa status?
Hard to say, Muniji, because it depends upon how much was the speed. So if you were going 100 miles an hour in 25 mile zone, that's probably reckless driving.
But ticket thodi mila tha. It's just warning.
Yeah, so then it's not a problem. It's just a warning.
And then parking ticket.
That was the first one is a parking ticket, okay. Yeah. So it was a sketchy speeding ticket, okay. Sketchy parking, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't look like an issue. It's just a warning, yeah.
Okay. I recently got my conditional green card. Can I start a consultancy? Can I sponsor anyone from H1B already?
Yes, you can.
Nice. Currently, I'm on F1 extension expiring 2026 with one speeding ticket in 2023, traveling to India in May. Is there any issue?
I don't think so. If it's just plain and simple speeding, if it's not criminal.
Yeah. And if SEVIS is not terminated. But okay, I currently have a job and I'm on STEM OPD. My H1B didn't pick last 2 years. Can I ask my employer to start PERM process or can I do it on my own? What are other options I can explore before I lose my STEM OPD status?
So you can't do PERM by yourself. It has to be an employer who does it for you. And if you are India born and your spouse is also India born, um, PERM is not a real good option for you to be able to continue to work in the United States. It's an option 10, 15 years down the line, but it's not an option right now. You can start it, but don't expect immediate benefits.
My H1B was selected in lottery. If I go through consular processing and petition is approved, will I have any problem getting the visa stamp returning to US?
If your record is clean, you got your visa stamp, why can't you come back? I think it should be fine. Take me one step back to the previous question. There was another question after the PERM. What other options can I explore? NIW and EB1A are the only two visas or only two green cards that don't require an employer. NIW, EB1A.
What about O1?
O1 is not a green card. O1 is a temporary visa. He's asking about
Acha,
green card, right?
green. Yeah, I mean,
PERM
he's
process.
not asking specifically for green card, but what are the other options?
Yeah, so unless you are from a country that has some special visas, like Australia does, E3, okay, or Singapore has H1B1 or B2, whatever that is, H1B1. So
Mm.
unless they have some special visas, you have no other options, very few options. O1, of course, but for O1, you've got to have the resume, and they're getting tougher and tougher with their O1 adjudications.
Okay. Had a criminal record, domestic violence fight with a friend, got dismissed, no fine, no conviction. University supporting and ready to give reinstate I-20. Please no sugarcoating. Do you think I got a chance?
Charges got dismissed. I think you have a chance because there's no criminal conviction. Remember the page I was showing, the exact language they used. So if you look at the exact language they used, they said, present, share screen. So the language used in the USCIS policy manual is violations due to students' actions such as criminal activity. So here is the problem with this language. Criminal activity and criminal conviction are two different things, right? We could argue that is this really this is not a part of the regulations. Government is making up these additional requirements. Okay. So, but the way I see it, there's if the government wants to get tough with you, they can deny your reinstatement. So without sugarcoating, there's a chance you could have a problem. But there's also a chance you could be reinstated.
DD is deferred position, not drunk driving.
What was I
Also,
saying? Oh, deferred disposition. Yeah. So deferred disposition, again, I'm not an expert in every 50 states laws and definitely not criminal defense. So deferred disposition simply means this. We found you that you were alleged to have committed a crime. We're not saying that you're convicted, but we'll put aside deciding the case until XYZ is done. And if XYZ is done, then we'll dismiss the case. Certain kinds of deferred inspections, depending upon the state law, can be an admission of guilt. So there are states in which before you can get deferred disposition, you have to admit that you did something wrong. Or if not expressly, implicitly. I remember reading those statutes. So yeah, be careful. Talk to a lawyer who does this for a living.
Yeah, I mean his H1B is picked, and he's worried about SEVIS, which I think, I mean, this is what the original question was.
One was deferred. It was not drunk driving. That would be problematic. Plea of abeyance. So they are both the same thing. Plea of abeyance and deferred disposition. They are the same idea. Only thing you need to confirm is, are they considered to be problematic under US immigration laws? And only local lawyers can tell you that, who do uh, defense of these two kinds of cases.
Hmm. Okay.
Deportation defense lawyers.
How to check if SEVIS is terminated?
Ask your DSO.
Okay. Register in master's cap but selected in regular cap.
Ah, interesting. No, if you registered in master's cap, but you were still, because went through master's cap first, then you went through bachelor's cap. So I think you'll have a problem. But here is what you can do, Nishanji. If your coursework is finished in June, get a letter from the university saying all your requirements are done. Only thing that remains is formal conferral of a degree, and that should take care of it.
Hmm. Okay. Applied for initial OPT and EAD card. I am in my last sem. Does OPT termination bill should cause to worry?
I don't know
Yeah.
anything about the termination bill. When it comes into play, we'll see. Don't panic.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
And guys, don't do any more super chat. We will not be able to take it. We will meet next week, Wednesday. So I will answer all the, I mean, we will try to answer all the questions so far, but don't do any more super chats. FLV up, FLW up. I have no idea what that means. Follow up. Oh, follow up. Might have to occasionally travel to US for my startup while I work from Canada. So potential issues at border if on B visa. And what about if I move to US on L1 eventually? Do I stop managing my startup?
Yeah, you have to. Your wife can manage if, or your husband can manage if they are on L2, because they would have an employment authorization. So they don't have Canadian citizenship or anything, do they? No.
They haven't said anything about it. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just finish that thought. Yeah, see, things get complicated when you want to come to the US. So if you are coming to the US to shake hands and kiss babies, not to actually do the work, just meeting clients and saying hi to people, you should be okay. But if you're actually trying to conduct business from within the United States,
not Canadian citizen.
Yeah. So if you try to conduct business within the US, you'll have a problem. You can manage, but not conduct.
I need coffee for reading silly acronyms. I mean, I have no.
Yeah, it's not silly. It's just that I think people are pretty creative with these, and we have to get creative too.
Yeah, which is okay.
He always needs a coffee, so don't worry about it.
I have one. Florida.
Chill is his natural state of being.
All right. H1B valid till April 2026. Planning to visit India in September for a month and file for extension once back. Will there be any issue in travel?
Valid till April 26. September mein ja rahe hain wapas. Yeah, I don't think it should be a problem.
2024 ban from United Airlines because of misunderstanding. They called police, but United did not press any charge against me. They checked my driving license and told me write a report. Worried on STEM OPT.
Until you get a service revocation, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because if you had an issue, it would have come up by now. It looks like they've caught everybody that they wanted.
The wave is gone, you think?
I'm not hearing any new reports. Knock on wood. Not so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Got a parking ticket through a rental car on my Indian license, paid it online, case closed, no fingerprinting, anything to worry about.
So parking ticket is not a moving violation. It's a clean traffic violation. I don't worry about that.
Yeah. Okay, Akshay, I don't see your question. If you can send your question, I don't see it. If my H1B is approved through an IT sourcing company and they assign me to work at one of their client companies while the client pays the outsourcing company and the outsourcing company pays me.
So they have to do an H1B amendment in these cases. Okay. So let's say the staffing company says you're going to work in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's their headquarters. But when they find a client, they say now you have to work from Arizona. They have to do an amendment. Even if it is in Charlotte, North Carolina, but you're working for a client site instead of your home site, you should do an amendment because the terms of work might have changed. So
Okay.
amendments may be required in these cases. Just double check with their lawyers.
I dropped it below, but again, I don't see your question. I'm sorry.
Is it difficult to find questions? I don't know what kind of interface you have.
Because we have 500 plus people and every single second we are getting questions. So that's why it just goes away. I knocked door for F1 student whose visa is revoked. What are the options?
You're not obliged to open the door. You're also not obliged to let them inside unless they have a federal warrant. So they have to have a warrant signed by a federal judge. And you can Google it. It's those sample warrants are available online. ACLU has put them out. So American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, they have excellent material. Read up on it. Know your rights. They always say know your rights.
So, but like karna kya hai? Matlab, if they are knocking,
you don't have to answer the door. They can't knock the door down. Not unless they have a warrant. And I don't know if they can knock the door down. So federal warrants are very specific. They'll tell you what time.
door as in knocking the door. I'm assuming that.
You don't have to answer the door. Why do you have
Achha.
to answer the door?
Okay. Okay. One speeding ticket can terminate SEVIS.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, Alpha Pandey. I'm on F1 OPT working on W2 full time for a company. Can I also work for startup, not mine, for profit without any pay? Any issues on H1B or green card?
That could be a violation of Fair Labor Standards Act. For-profit company taking free work, that's a problem for the company. And because the problem for the company, it can be a problem for you. USCIS has said that although a Fair Labor Standards Act violation is a violation by the company, but if you are working like that, it's also a violation of your OPT.
Okay. I'm currently on OPT expiring 6/9, applied for STEM extension. I'm going to India 4/30/5/18. My H1B was picked this year and asked the lawyers to file H1B once I'm back. Is it safe to travel?
He's coming back like about a month before his
Expiry.
OPT expires. I would carry a copy of my H1B. Well, you're not applying. Why don't you apply before and go with the approval? He's traveling he can't do that. He's traveling the end of this month. So he can't do that. I would carry at least an approved LCA to show that they are ready to file my application as soon as I come in. I would carry a copy of LCA and carry maybe a letter from my employer and lawyer saying that they're ready to file the paperwork.
Okay. Uday says, very angry. Here we go. Yours a question. I'm graduating this semester and I got a job offer with 40,000 a year. Can my employer sponsor me for H1B?
So Uday, unless you're working from a small village, 40,000 sounds very, very little for most jobs. So I don't know where you are working. So it depends upon. So let me show you how you figure out what your salary should be. Okay. Let me present my screen. So there is Office of Foreign Labor Certification. You go to flag.dol.gov. Okay. And you go into the wage search. What is the data series? What are the choices? Old, old, old. So you go with the most recent one. You are not working for a school, higher education. You go with all industries. And let's say you're a software developer. You type software and developer shows up. You click on that. State, let's say you are working in Alabama. County, which county are you? This is where you are actually working from. Could be your home. Ottawa County, whatever that is. Okay. And you say submit. Now it tells you there are 4 levels of wages. One is for entry level people who are just starting out, almost no experience, getting entry level work. 2 is more experience, 3 is more experience, 4 is advanced. Okay. So this is the least amount of salary, no variation. If the job is entry level, but if the job is normal job, 82,000 to 64, not 1 cent less, they can pay you more. So that's how you figure out. Does this, Yuri,
Yeah,
was
yeah,
this
yeah.
clear? Okay. Can I
Yes.
stop sharing?
Yes.
Flag.dol.gov wage search.
Yeah. Sai had a follow up. If I choose to reinstate, how long does it take, and can I stay in US meantime? My lawyer is suggesting ILUM. He said you can revoke it after reinstating.
I don't know what ILUM means. So I've said this before. I think reinstatement is the problem if there's criminality involved. And 2, reinstatement can take many months, but that does not mean the government can't put a deportation order against you.
Simple assault charge that was dismissed and found not guilty. Is it admissible?
It shouldn't be, but I would rather have a lawyer take a look at it, because what you and I know only from what you are telling me. When they look at the paperwork, they might be able to say something different. Also, remember our long discussion about conviction and the actual act. They can be 2 different things. Government usually doesn't ask you about the actual act.
Currently on H1B, had speeding ticket 2 years back in Texas, which was resolved through defensive driving course. Would this be an issue for my impeding Europe travel? Otherwise, clean record in social.
You should talk to a local lawyer anyway. It's a good idea.
Okay. Last question, and we'll let you go. Driving rental car, got only warning. Any trouble?
I don't see that as a problem. So warning obviously means the problem was not severe enough for you to be prosecuted or arrested.
Sorry, Jyoti, I'll take your question. I am currently on STEM OPT and about to start day 1 CPT from July. My spouse, who is currently on F2, can she apply for change of status from F2 to F1 while I'm
Sure.
doing day 1 CPT?
Yeah, as long as you are maintaining status, she's maintaining status. If she's maintaining status, she can also apply for change of status. No problem.
Deported from US while returning from India with 200,000 in debt. If unpaid loans will affect him globally or only in US, since he likely can't return? What are the future
I
consequences?
don't know the laws of the whole world. I only know the laws of USA.
Yeah.
So my guess, it shouldn't impact any other country, but that's just a guess. I have no idea.
Yeah. Guys, we will be back next week. I am still not, I'll be here next week also. Week after that, I'll be in India. But we'll update you. But we will be back next week. Thank you, Rajivji. Thank you, everybody.
See you guys.
Let me
Everybody
just
be well.
double check if I didn't miss any super chat, because then I'll get emails like you missed my super chat.
Did you tell me my camera was not the right angle?
You still look pretty, so.
Oh, that I do, of course.
Is there any problem in immigration if I have legal documents and H1B visa? I think she's traveling, so.
Well, first of all, I like how humble she is. Grace and gorgeous. Okay. Is there any problem in immigration? Yeah, I don't understand that question. I was, is there any problem?
It was a follow-up. I'm trying to find her
Hey,
question.
so it'll be so much easier if you can talk to people.
Yeah, maybe I should start like a phone line. How do you
Yeah.
guys do it? You
So what
but
we
then
do
feel
is we can do Zoom. I have a Zoom. We can use that.
Zoom doesn't have great streaming, but
Acha. We have a bridge, a conference bridge for up to 300 people or 500 people. So what I like about it is, first of all, it's anonymous.
mm,
If the government wants that information, they have to bring a warrant for me. And if they bring a warrant, I will resist it.
mm. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Canadian citizen, he's asking this a lot. I'm a Canadian citizen. Do you think TN visa option is good? I've got bad reviews like extension is given for 1 year and difficult to move from one employer to another.
We have so many people on TN. TN is a great option. The problem, Vaibhav, is TN, when you go through the border, you can have some very weird officers. There's almost like a mental defect in some of them. They will ask weird questions like, "Oh, you don't have a table of contents." That's not my job. I have clearly marked what the exhibits are. You can see them. It's not my job. There's no requirement in the law that I've got to present documents in the way you like them. They do silly things like that. But overall, TN visas are quite successful. I like them.
I work for a very small company with 4 employees and work remotely. Is this going to be a problem for stamping?
If it's a genuine company, why should it be? I'm assuming you're talking about an H1B.
Yeah. ICE is arresting SEVIS revoked students. Any suggestion on
They
this?
are.
Also,
So yeah, so I didn't know that. So ICE is arresting service revoked students.
also says H1B candidates also received.
So I don't see what they can do with H1B candidates. They're already status has been changed. So unless they want to say the revocation because it is retroactive, you did that, so-called crime, and we should have revoked it then, but we didn't revoke it, and therefore the change of status you revoked is invalid. That's a stretch. I don't put anything past this government, but don't these guys have a better thing, something better to do? They're arresting students. I think Trump said he was going to be arresting criminals. Where are the criminals?
Yeah.
Gang members and criminals. And they are diverting all these resources. So, like I said, know your rights. Go to ACLU, read up what they say, how you are supposed to talk with ICE. They can't come into your house, not without a federal warrant. And what does a federal warrant look like? Look at that. It tells them where you can go. Should we show it to them?
Yeah. And can you answer this as well?
Yeah, so Kushalji, that is one of the options, right? I said 4 options. Leave now, leave a little bit, watch what is going on, see what cases are there. Maybe you can join one of the cases or be covered by one of the classes. Number 3, file a lawsuit yourself. And number 4, file for reinstatement, which I don't think is a realistic option.
Yeah.
So
We are showing federal warrant.
yeah, I'll show you some things in that federal.
So they are saying they told no more. They are warranting any notice.
They're trying to do expedited removal. I don't think they can.
It's crazy.
So this is a good example.
Okay.
Present. Actually, ACLU has much better material, but I'm just catching whatever I can see. Share screen. So administrative warrant, you don't have to let them in unless it is a warrant from United States District Court. Look, it's issued by a court, right? You see that here? It's issued by a court. It confirms the name of a particular person. It must be spelled correctly. also look at attachments. You have the right to read the warrant. Uh, it can be either arrest warrant or search and seizure. Okay, it will be labeled like that. So it will be called search and seizure, which basically means they can search your premises, and they actually tell you what premises they can search and what they can search. Judicial warrants are signed by a judge. So, for example, let's say if you have, again, I'm a little bit outside my own comfort level here, but I can still kind of remember Law 101. So this is what it has to be from a federal court. Okay, it's a United States District Court. So what if they come to your house and they want to search your car? Can they do that? Not unless the warrant says so. You can refuse to let them search the car. Say, I don't consent to it.
Okay.
There's something called plain view exceptions. If they come to your house and you've got a dead body's leg sticking out, they can go take a look at it. You know?
All right, last question. I'm on STEM OPT with a pending I-485 and approved GC green EAD. Can I stop maintaining F1 status and work on green card EAD until my green card is approved?
So this is a very interesting question because, see, government has said, RNG, that you can't have 485 and F1 going on at the same time. Okay, because if you file F1, you should talk to your DSO and say, look, I'm on a 485, and they should accordingly take care of your SEVIS because it's perfectly legal for you to still study. So are you really maintaining F1 status? I don't think so. Should you stop maintaining it? Sure. Work on your green card EAD, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. I know it's super stressful right now. And if there's anything changes from now until next Wednesday, we'll connect.
You all.
Yep. All right. Hang in there, guys. Bye. And